Sounds good.
So welcome back to the Slide Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Aaron, and I am joined today with my co-host, and I started to call you Lovely because I'm used to doing that with Jen, but how you doing, Coach Patrick?
I could be lovely. You don't know.
How you doing, Patrick?
Good. How are you?
Awesome. Well,
Sweet.
For those who are listening to our show for the very first time, we're a youth baseball focused show that looks and hopes and dreams to make baseball fun again. So, and our goal is to spotlight youth throughout the country and add a little fun and excitement to their day. So today we're joined with Jeremy Hazen from VeloTee. He joins us from Nashville. How you doing, Jeremy?
Good. How are y'all?
Good. So tell us, man, without jumping like too much into product first, but
Sure.
tell us about yourself, man, because I'm if you haven't heard, for our listeners out there, Jeremy owns a company, VeloTee, and he's here today to tell us a little bit about it. But again, sorry, Jeremy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So Jeremy Hazen, originally from Anderson, Indiana, but I live here in Nashville, Tennessee now. So I moved down, went to school up in Gallatin out of high school, played junior college baseball, transferred to a Milligan college over in East Tennessee for a year, got injured there, took a medical red shirt, and then transferred back home to Indiana to Anderson University. So that's where I finished up school in baseball and had aspirations of playing at the next level, and that didn't happen. So did the next best thing, and that was to get into instruction. So I worked at a couple local facilities up in Indiana, and then I knew I wanted to get back down to Nashville. So decided to move back down. At the time, I thought I was going to do photography because that's what my dad did, and I worked his business doing sports action photography.
That's cool.
So that I didn't do that either. So
It's okay.
I jumped into a facility and then coached some travel teams and local rec teams, and ended up getting married and decided I needed to get a big boy job. So started working at a company doing some marketing and brand management stuff. So that's kind of like my background.
Yeah.
And then with that company, I was able to work on a couple projects, which kind of led me to developing the VeloTee.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, what year did you really come up with the concept of the VeloTee?
Let's see. That was back in 2019.
Okay.
I was given a hitting lesson, and I had one of the GT tops, but I didn't have a base.
Right.
And so I was hoping I'd get to the lesson, and in the cage there'd be like one of those generic rubber T bases that I could use. And there wasn't. So I saw the kid's bat bag on the ground, and I was like, well, maybe I can make his bat slot work as the tee holder for me just to get by this, first lesson. And it just kept falling over. And so like in that moment, I snapped a picture and made a couple drawings, and a couple prototypes later, we got to the bag.
Awesome. So for all of our listeners out there, how would you best describe VeloTee for them if they've never seen it before?
It's a home plate shaped bat bag that comes with a batting tee, and you can hit right off your bat bag. So there are 3 inside tee slots that you can move your tee around, and then your bat slots also can function as a tee slot as well. So if you're working on an away pitch and you want it to be, let it travel a little bit more, you can put it in that back slot and hit it right off your bag. So it holds all your gear, and it's your equipment bag, but it's also a batting tee for you.
So when did you start selling?
We went live in 21.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How's business been, I guess, is what I was going to say.
It's been good. It's been really great feedback. This past holiday season was our obviously like biggest year yet. So the sales are going in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's not a crazy, like it hasn't exploded by any means, or which I'm fine with. Like I'm wonderful at the pace we're moving at right now. So,
well, hey, you're on the Slide Podcast now, so we may help you just tip it over the hill. So that's our goal. Well, some of the things that I've learned in coaching rec ball, and since you're essentially a tea manufacturer, like so many younger kids these days don't want to hit off the tea
Hmm.
because it's boring. And like obviously, since you're in this business now, what would you say to the kids out there that's listening that says tea work is boring? Like that's because all the kids want to go behind or get into the batting, start to say batting circle, batter's box, and start hitting live pitching. But why is tea work important?
I think it's just super essential. I mean, you've got to crawl before you can walk type situation. So if you're really wanting to kind of hone your skills, no better place to do it than right off a tee. The ball's not moving. You can kind of control your environment, and really hone in and work on whatever skill drill you want to be doing.
Gotcha. And I think it's Patrick. I know you were looking at some pictures earlier, but like just the fact that you've always got a tee with you, because
Mhm.
that's the challenge that I've ran into as a coach is kids get a new bat for the season. Generally speaking, kids get a new bat and bag. They get bat and gloves, cleats,
Mhm.
and the one thing that the parents always really forget about is the bat and tee. And and I've seen all kind of different contraptions that parents are using these days, and honestly there's so much foundational like skill that can be used, learned from a tee, that you don't have
Mhm.
to spend all that other money. And
Yep.
now the fact that now I can have a bat and tee with me everywhere my son goes, like I could just say, instead of drop and give me 10, I just say, drop it and give me 10 swings.
Yeah.
So, but, and I run with the same issues as I've said with others with my son. It's like, how do I make hitting off a tee fun?
Mhm.
And, it's constantly a challenge. So,
Yep.
Patrick, what questions you got, bud?
So you said that you were doing some hitting practice, some coaching.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about how you um, started picking up batting practice and coaching kids that way. Because you said you gave us a little bit about your history and
Mhm.
your career. When did you get into coaching after you left baseball?
So I got into it while I was still playing. I worked for a White Sox scout, Mike Shirley, up in Indiana. He had a facility. So I would go in and kind of help run some of his hitting sessions with him. So I think that got like a pretty good foundation for me to learn how to work with kids, especially younger kids, and just how to talk with them and kind of make what I was trying to tell them to do, kind of put it into their own language, and kind of simplify it, because I know you can get super high level, and I wasn't one of those coaches to kind of talk up here when the kid needed it down here. So
So you wouldn't talk in exit velocity and all that stuff with like the 5 and 6 year olds or anything?
no,
Oh,
definitely not.
okay, good. All right.
Just
Well, that's
launch
good.
angle. Just launch
There you
angle.
go. Just the launch angle. Look,
Yeah.
dude, I'm gonna tell you your launch angle. You've got to improve. Yeah, go do a bathroom break. There you go. So that's funny.
So what all age groups do you coach?
So I'm no longer really coaching. Just time. I've got a family now, so
Yeah.
it's starting a business. It's tough for me to get lessons in. If I do, it's very sparsely. So, um, but when it was my youngest kid was like 5. He'd come in, and that was another thing. I mean, we can get into it if you want to,
Yeah.
but and then all the way up to I had a 68-year-old.
Really?
And
Wow.
that was he did like these what are they? They go to like pro teams and then they actually play a game. So it's like I don't know how to describe it, but
Yeah.
it was pretty interesting to work with him.
That's how was his swing?
We got it pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. There's so much, and I keep awesome is my word. So if anybody out there is listening and counting and checking a box every time I say it, you're gonna run out of paper. But um, I think I found with kids, like it's what you said earlier, is you got to be able to relate to them.
Mhm.
And there's too many coaches, and we joke about some of the scientific part of baseball, but like there's too many coaches out there today worried about those things, and instead of just really focusing and honestly teaching a kid what the purpose of hitting off a tee is. And I think that's where the challenge of youth baseball is today. Do you still get out to the parks and get a chance to catch some youth baseball games?
Yeah, with especially with a bag, like I'll go out and kind of set up a table, and so yeah, we're still able to get out and see what's going on. So
uh, what's your take and opinion on things that go on today out in those parks?
um, I'll plead the fifth on that one.
I got you. I sort of teed you up on that one. I apologize for that one. So.
No pun intended on that.
No. There you go. So what's kids say about the bag, man? Like,
Um,
sure, their mind's blown. But
well, the
what are they
reaction
saying?
is like, "What is this?" Like, it's something they've never seen before, and I'm having to kind of talk it through. Some people get it right off the bat, like they see it and they're like, "Oh, that's why haven't I thought of this?"
Yeah.
And then others, you kind of point out some of the features, but once they see it and the functionality and the versatility of it, they're like, "Oh, this is great."
Now I know if I take, because the plate portion of the bottom of the bag is Velcro, right? So it attaches to the bottom of the bag.
So the home plate top, it's
Okay.
a zipper.
Yeah.
So it
Oh,
can
it's a
zip
zipper.
off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is there any weight to that? What you got there in your hand?
No,
Like,
not really. I mean, it's
no?
pretty
Okay.
rigid. It's got some there's like a hard plastic and some foam padding on it, so it's pretty rigid.
So I love that because for kids that, and I think back to my childhood, and because we played more sandlot games than we did any organized ball. And that gives me a home plate everywhere I go. And I think that's pretty awesome for everyone else out there. So,
Yeah, like I was always either like having to throw my glove down on the ground to give a kid a reference point, like if there wasn't a home plate around, or my hat. So it just kind of you just have a home plate with you. So
yeah, I think that's so. What's next for VeloTee? Like, what's your goal, and where will we see VeloTee in the next few months to years? Like, what's your goal?
I would like to see it get more into like organizations. So I've gone back and forth with like the market fit. So kind of see it as like a travel team bag, but
Yeah.
also, I mean, coaches can use it, kids can use it, parents can use it if they want. So I don't want to like pigeonhole one way.
Well, of course, yeah.
So
I know as a coach, honestly, I actually was going to get one myself just so that I could always keep a tee with me.
yeah,
Because, there's sometimes you show up to a practice, you're running late, but I know I'm always going to have at least my bag with my glove in it and so on. So at least as a coach, I always come prepared for practice.
yeah,
So I think that's a huge benefit. And then obviously having the kids, easy accessible to a tee anywhere they are. I mean, to me, that's like a babysitter in itself sometimes for the parents. Like, look, I know you got your tee with you. Go out there and hit. So,
yeah.
well, so I know we mentioned before we started recording that you so you're in Nashville, you went to the ABCA, which is American Baseball Coaches Association. I had no clue what this thing was. And I want to say I read somewhere that there was over 13,000 people come through that show during that weekend.
Yeah, I don't
Did
know
it feel right?
It feels right. It was slammed pretty much all like every day. So foot traffic was really great. And where our booth was in a good spot because they had two halls actually. And so we were kind of close to like the pass between those two halls. So I mean,
Gotcha.
coaches and players were just running through there. So it was really cool to see that atmosphere and just all the vendors there. It was overwhelming.
I was looking and I learned a lot about it's almost I associate that to I come from the retail electronics world, so CES was our big thing in my previous career, and so to me this is the CES for baseball. Like show I didn't even know there was that many baseball vendors that was even out there. I mean, and like oh my goodness, a lot of stuff I learned about. Yeah.
And you guys said you're going to be in Texas?
Yeah. So the plans for us to be in Texas. Nice. So we're going to, did you get to meet Mark Paul when you were out?
Yep.
the show?
Mhm.
Now, did he have any funny things to say to you?
Always.
Yeah. So he's going to be on the show with us coming up, and we've got some really cool stuff planned for that episode.
Nice.
So
Yeah, he's a good dude. I love him.
he's a character. So
Oh yeah. And then I saw you guys had Chase Andrews on a while back ago.
yeah. You
Okay,
know
so
Chase?
I actually coached Chase with
Oh, that's right. You told me that. Yeah.
the Knights organization that I coached. So he was a great player, and like he's doing great things with his catching. What's it called? Stronghold
Catching. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it's constantly growing. You know, when we had him on the show, it was funny talking to him because social media wasn't something that he cared about. I think he even said that on the show. And then after he posted a few videos of some of the clinics that he was doing, like it just sort of caught on, and he had to then like start paying attention to it. And I noticed he just started a Twitter too, so I'm proud of him. So he's doing some good stuff. So what position did you play? Yeah, I know. What position did you play?
So I tried to play shortstop. So I did that for a couple of years in college, and then played some third and just a little bit of second. So
okay, so you was the infielder guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Which one was your favorite?
They each have their own thing that I liked. Second base, like I like the short throw. That's I didn't have a strong arm, so that's why but third was fun. It was challenging. Especially moving from short, just different reads off the bat and stuff. But I like short. I liked them all. So
I don't know. After I see how these grown men are hitting the ball these days, I played some third, but today, man, I feel like I would need to call Evo Shield and like protect up because that ball is coming. So, like it's I don't know. Who was your favorite baseball player growing up when you were?
Probably. So I was named after Ryan Sandberg.
Okay.
And then that's my middle name, Ryan. But Jeter, I always liked Jeter.
Okay. So are you a Cubs fan or a Yankees fan?
Neither. I'm a baseball fan. Like being from Indiana, like there wasn't really a hometown team. So I like good baseball, and that's, I know, a generic answer, but
no. Well, I remember growing up, Sandberg was amazing. Mark Grace was at first. Andre Dawson was there, the Hawk. I remember listening to Harry Carey announce and all that. And then all that stuff just like brings back. That's the good part about the great thing about baseball is the history is always there. And you can always learn something from it. So
for sure. It's such a small community too. Like it's big, but it's also small. Like, and I don't know if it feels that same way like in South Carolina, but like your baseball community is like family, and so
it is. I mean, your baseball team, the players that you play with, they turn into extended family. And then really, I can say since I've started the show, the baseball community has been amazing to us, and really, in a lot of cases, I've asked a lot of stupid questions and silly questions, and everybody has been like ultra supportive and like willing to help any way they could. And I think that just goes back to the game is just always giving forward. So that's all. I grew up watching Canseco though. So Canseco was my guy. But I mean, I told somebody that yesterday or earlier today, and they said, how'd that work out for you? And I was like, ouch. Hey.
Great.
Yeah, great for me. I mean, hey, that dude's still playing.
Yeah.
You see, he challenged Aaron Judge to a home run hitting contest with a softball.
Okay.
So he wanted to measure distance. He said he could out hit Aaron Judge. So I'd pay to see that. So
I think he probably could. So
he's a big dude. So I loved it, man. He was the Bash Brothers. So that's what it was when I was growing up. So
did you get into baseball cards at all?
Man, yeah, a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So let me tell you the story so you asked me that. So I always wanted Canseco's rookie card. And Canseco's rookie card was a 86 Donruss. And it was that same set had Fred McGriff's rookie card in it. It had Cecil Fielder's rookie card in it. Like, I remember all this crazy stuff. But my mom went into the baseball card shop, and for Christmas one year, that's what I asked for. I wanted Canseco's rookie. So she had to buy the whole box of set, or the whole set. And at the time, McGriff's rookie was kind of pricey. Canseco's was pricey. Fielder, there's several more in that set. So she paid like, I want to say like $250 for that set.
Sheesh.
Yeah. And now that set's probably worth 25. I mean, so yes, I did collect baseball cards.
Gotcha.
So, did you collect?
A little bit, and then I got out of it, and then I don't know, back 2018 when it kind of popped off again, or 2019.
Well, now there's just so many cards.
Yeah.
I mean, back, when I was young, there was the Donruss, the Fleer, Stadium Club, Topps, Bowman.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got Bowman, and all these others have got 10 different series, and I can't afford it anymore. It's got too expensive.
Yeah.
Well, and the value's not there on the back end either because it's flooded.
No, that's right. Yeah. Unless you open up one of these mysterious packs that have like a jersey or an autographed card in it, then those things are outrageous. But my Canseco card value didn't hold up over time. But hey, I would still love, my goal is to still get him on this show.
Yeah.
I'd love to have him sign that card, because that was my childhood. That's who I associate with my childhood with.
Well,
so
it's going to happen. It'll happen.
I'm pretty sure it will, one way, shape, or form. I'll get him one day. So, well, very cool, Jeremy. So, tell us where we can find VeloTee, find the information, how we can shop for it, and tell our listeners out there how to find you.
Yeah. Across all socials, it's VeloTee, at VeloTee. And then I've got a website, www.velotee.com. That's where you can purchase it. And then, everything's in-house. So once you put your order in, I ship it out personally. So I'm doing quality control and shipping it out of the garage. So
you're not making them in the garage though, right?
Yeah, my wife's sewing them, and
no,
I've got my
Are you
daughter.
Serious?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh!
You know what? You had me there for a minute. You're like, everything's done in house. Got sweatshop in the back. Yeah, she's
okay. When I said everything's done in house, the shipping part and
okay. Gotcha.
See, I was brewing on this question, and now I have to ask it. How did you go from idea to product? Like, how did that work? Like, who did you seek out? How did you start putting things together? What did that whole process look like?
Good question.
Yeah. So the company that I work for, they manufacture backpacks, coolers, blankets. So they have factories overseas. Whoops. Sorry. Hope I didn't mess anything up.
No, you're good.
And so I was able to work on a couple projects to see how that process went, and talking with the factories and go back and forth between, your idea, and then the factory does it one way and you're like, no, I want it this way. And so just the back and forth is kind of the main time consuming thing. But yeah, with the bag, I knew I wanted it as a home plate. So I took some cardboard and figured out the home plate top, and I had the first bag, I wanted it 17 inches for a home plate size.
Right.
When the sample got here, it was massive. Like, the bag was ginormous, and I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work. So we had to cut down the size, and then I had to figure out, some other things. But just minor things, like with the bat slots, like I had to ship them over a bat that I wanted it to fit and make sure it was the right height. And so just a lot of minor things that you have to go back. That's the
kind of stuff that drives you crazy there, right? Like, you do all these little small details.
A little bit, but I don't know, this is my baby now. So it's like, I wanted it to be the right way and quality and hold up, because, kids are buying $300 bats. And I don't know how long they're lasting, if they're a season long now and they're done with it, or if they're actually stretching it out.
Yeah. So I watched one dad buy his son 2 $300 bats in the same season one year. Wow. And I'm like, this kid's only 7 years old. That bat's only going to help so much. Like, let's just learn the basics here. So yeah, but you're right though. I mean, you got to take care of that, because gloves, I mean, gloves, you're going to spend, anywhere from $100 to $300 or more. I mean, that's interesting, because as I've looked at different things, I see some of the technologies and the different types of bats made, and I'm like, well, what if we had this, but with this instead? And that's where I'm kind of stuck with the question that Patrick asked, is like, what's the next steps if someone is like you and they want to take a design or a concept and actually like market it and
like you
produce
have
it?
A little bit of an advantage with the company you work for, but like what average coach that has a good idea about something they could do from their team, like how do they make that like a reality?
Yeah.
Contact me at no.
There you go. Yeah.
Hey, that's it.
Honestly, that's not a bad thing.
You're who I'm going to call when
Right.
I have a question. So.
Actually, so technically, like, I work for multiple companies, and one of the companies does like that. They take ideas and work on patent stuff. So it's in all seriousness, if that's something you really want to try, and like, reach out to me and we can talk it through. And if it seems feasible, like, we can talk about it and see if we can move it forward.
I think there's a lot of great ideas like yours out there, and people just don't know what to do with them. So they just go nowhere. And this is stuff that could help kids, help teams, help the sport. And they just never come to fruition just because they don't know how to make that real.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of people, they come up with, their own prototype and like, PVC pipe with stuff, and like, it works. So, I mean, just that like ingenuity to try and like, all right, this idea I want to make work. I have limited resources. Like, I'd say still, try and go after it that way. And then, I feel like you can find companies that can say, hey, we can take it and help you get, a finished fine product.
Yeah. I know there's actually a sketch that I'll have to send you later on, but without getting too into that other company, it's similar to a product that's out there, but I think I've tweaked it to make it maybe a little bit more universal. So we'll catch back up on that one.
Just curious, one more question around that.
Sure.
What's the time frame from your idea to your first like working product? Like, not just your mock-ups, but like the first one you were like, okay, yeah, this is what I wanted.
Probably like a sellable product.
Yeah.
Let's see, that was started working on it in 19 and got it in like mid 21. So what is that?
Yeah. Wow.
Year and a half, 2 years.
Some patience. How much did COVID affect that?
Luckily we got the order in right before the shipping stuff started kind of backlogging.
Right.
So I was able to get my product in before all that happened. So it really didn't hurt.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that virus already ruined enough. I'm glad they didn't slow you down. So awesome. Well, very cool. Any questions for us, Jeremy, before we close up the show?
I
got one last question for you that I have to always ask. So
okay. All right. I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So, if you were walking up to bat today,
yep,
what would be your walkout song?
Probably Put On For My City.
Put On For My City. Who is that from?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay. We'll look that one up. So we're in
or
the
maybe
process.
it was like halftime. Is that how that?
I know the beat, but I don't know the artist.
So Patrick works for ESPN, so he's a camera guy. So he hears all of those those stadium anthems, and it probably dreams about them at night.
Yeah.
So but awesome, Jeremy. Thank you very much for hopping on with us, man. We're gonna get some information out for VeloTee. And because I think it's super important that kids first of all have a tee, and what better way of keeping up with everything is to have it in a bag. I mean, I would say it's a genius idea, but it didn't. I mean, I don't know. I think it's awesome. So again,
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, very cool. So thank you everyone for listening. If you want to follow us on social media, you'll find all our links to the notes down below, our show information. But until then, Patrick, this is your first time.
We'll catch you on the slide.
That's right. Hold on one second, Jeremy.